Let's take a second right now to have a moment of silence for Washington Mystics owner Shelly Johnson, who suggested that the WNBA as a whole should have been on the cover of Time magazine instead of just Caitlin Clark, who graced the cover last week, which is probably some of the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
What happens when you combine record-breaking achievements, a Time magazine cover, and a lot of unearned criticism? Apparently, that's the result of Caitlin Clark's influence. But here's the real question. Why is there so much backlash against her success, from Matt Barnes to Jim Jackson? Several prominent basketball figures are speaking out, and they're not holding back. They're not only defending Clark, they're shedding light on a larger issue in women's sports. Curious about what's really happening? Let's take a closer look.
Caitlin has brought a ton of new opportunity, a ton of new eyeballs, and more money to the sport. So instead of downplaying the magnitude of who she is and what she's brought, enjoy the ride and take advantage of the ride.
What should have been a major victory for women's basketball, Caitlin Clark earning Times Athlete of the Year, hasn't exactly been met with widespread celebration. Some people aren't exactly raising a glass in her honor.
Man, first of all, she's unbelievable talent. You know, the things that she's doing is great in her own right. She's creating her own space, she's doing her own thing.
Imagine this, a rising star shattering records and landing a major magazine cover. It should be a clear win, right? Well, not everyone is celebrating. Instead of praise, Caitlin Clark is receiving some unexpected criticism. What's really going on?
The NBA's ratings continue to drop over 30% as they try to figure out who is going to fill the shoes of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry. The WNBA has a golden goose sitting in their league and has gotten better, but has done everything to kind of discredit the momentum and eyeballs she's brought to this game.
Let's dive into the backlash, because it's more dramatic than a tabloid at the salon. We're hearing whispers of favoritism, complaints about timing, and even some frustrated remarks from within the WNBA. Sheila Johnson, co-owner of the Washington Mystics, isn't holding back. She's arguing that the entire WNBA should have been recognized, not just Clark. That's one way to dampen the celebration.
It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that.
Johnson isn't backing down. She's concerned that all this attention on Clark might stir up tension in the league. By focusing on one player, it could lead to some hard feelings, she argues. Ouch. Imagine winning a major award only to have others say it should have gone to everyone else. She points out that there are plenty of talented players of color who never received the recognition they deserved. This isn't just online chatter. There's real drama brewing beneath the surface.
Over 31% of the Mystics' entire attendance was in 2 games the Caitlin team played against the Mystics. The Sparks, the Aces, the Mystics, the Dream, all moved games when Fever came in town because of the attention that Caitlin and her teammates have drawn that last season. Fever's jersey sales was up 1,000% and attendance was up 250%, and they had the largest attendance on average per year, just over 17,000.
This is having real consequences for both Clark and the league. Johnson's concerned about division and jealousy seeping into the WNBA, even mentioning other stars like Angel Reese. It's not just Caitlin Clark. There's a wealth of talent out there that's gone unrecognized. So, why is everyone so focused on Clark's success? It's more complicated than it seems, but don't worry, we're only scratching the surface. Speaking of diving deeper, let's hear from some big basketball names. They're certainly not holding back. Ready for more?
Let me say this, Caitlin Clark deserves all the flowers. I think she took a lot of it and a lot of skeptics coming into the league, as she should. Like, she had to really prove herself. Missed out on the Olympic opportunity and really had a lot of hard knocks early on in the season where she was getting beat up and her teammates were just watching her. I think the camaraderie in that locker room grew and that team started playing together and made the playoffs. made a nice little run, and had a solid season.
Imagine this. Matt Barnes, NBA champion and known for speaking his mind, steps up to the mic, and he's got a lot to say about Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. You just know it's going to be interesting when Barnes starts talking, right? And let's be real, Barnes isn't just backing Clark. He's taking the entire WNBA to task. Why? Well, he's not holding back. He's saying Clark deserves every bit of recognition coming her way. Every single one. And he's not stopping there. Barnes is calling out the critics who've been skeptical of Clark from the very start.
Caitlin is someone who has, if you look at it, done everything you're supposed to do, and has been criticized along every step of the way. Again, she's damned if she does, and she's damned if she...
Here's where it gets really interesting. Barnes lays down some hard truth. He argues that the WNBA has a golden opportunity sitting right in front of them with Caitlin Clark. But instead of embracing the momentum and attention she's brought to the game, the league has done little to capitalize on it. Let's break down Barnes's point. He's not just throwing shade for fun. He's talking about numbers, impact, and yes, that classic locker room real talk. Barnes highlights how Clark has been drawing in fans and creating buzz, but instead of running with it, he believes the league is dropping the ball in a major way.
I think they're doing an amazing job with, like you said, telling the story, and the players are actually doing their thing when they get there too. You know, like you mentioned, these couple of players, but Caitlin being the one that we're speaking about right now, she is kicking everybody's ass.
What's got Barnes fired up? Sheila Johnson's criticism, saying the whole WNBA deserved Times Athlete of the Year, not just Clark. Barnes isn't having it.
See the people say it's not just her, there's other players, and again, we're not distracted. We understand that the depth of talent in that league, but when you also see the numbers that back up the fact that Caitlin has a huge effect. Caitlin Clark is responsible for nearly 27% of the WNBA's league-wide activity in 2024, including attendance. 1 in 6 tickets sold at the WNBA arena attributed to Caitlin Clark. TV viewership was up 300% with Caitlin Clark.
Barnes isn't just throwing shade. He's making solid points about marketing, fan engagement, and the future of the game. He's asking the real questions. Why isn't the league doing more to promote its biggest star? Why are they letting this opportunity slip away?
To compare, from what we've seen from the NBA, it would, in her effect, probably something similar to Larry Bird.
Barnes isn't just throwing shade. He's making solid points about marketing, fan engagement, and the future of the game. He's asking the real questions. Why isn't the league doing more to promote its biggest star? Why are they letting this opportunity slip away?
Congratulations.
You know, they continue to push the game to the next level, you know, and you look at where the NBA was and now where the NBA is at now. And although everyone doesn't agree with the style of play, these guys have taken it to the next level as far as the business of basketball.
Right.
And I think that's what Caitlin will affect, is the business of women's basketball, man. So we wish them the best. Definitely excited to see these upcoming seasons and these women continue to do.
Congratulations to Caitlin Clark for being named Time Athlete of the Year. I get why people are so upset. I'm a basketball player and a basketball fan. There's a lot of dynamics and a lot of layers to this thing when it deals with Caitlin Clark. But I will say that this is just my opinion. It's certain people, I don't care if you're black, white, Spanish, from Europe, it doesn't matter, that have it, that draw something, okay? And Caitlin is, keep in mind, this is a business. When Nike signs a athlete, okay, they want to get an ROI, return on their investment. How do they do that? Because that athlete resonates. You understand that Caitlin Clark, her jerseys, her apparel, if she has an apparel deal, her shoes, Caitlin may not be, A'ja Wilson is the best player in the WNBA. But Caitlin is more marketable because people tend to resonate. I don't care, black, white, whatever it may be. And now there is a race component to it. It always will be in some regards, okay? But the player itself, the person, what she was able to do, how she resonated, how she drew eyes to the team. Don't agree with the Mystics owner saying that the whole WNBA should have been named up, because that's not true. The whole WNBA benefited this year from the viewership. The reason why Steph Curry, who may not be the best player, okay, in the NBA, but he draws differently. He draws different. He can be marketed differently than other players. And some players who may be considered better, maybe a Kevin Durant. But the market, to market Kevin Durant is a lot different than marketing Steph Curry. People resonate with Steph Curry a lot more than some other players that get deals, men and women, okay, that have signature shoes that despite how good they are as a player, great as they are as a player, they don't move product because it doesn't resonate. It doesn't translate. Caitlin Clark came into the league and 30,000 jerseys were already ordered. That the Indiana Fever, the season tickets were already sold out. When you go on the road to the Mystics and they have to change the venue in which it's going to be played to play, you know, where the Wizards play, okay, on a couple of occasions. It's only certain people that do that. Whether you like Caitlin or not, are you interested? If you're a ball player, there's certain aspects you got to love about Caitlin.
The idea of some players being jealous, yes, that probably exists.
Okay.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step